Alright, what's up, y'all? Welcome to part 2. If I can get my phone working right. Alright, hopefully it won't move. Welcome to part 2 of Search and Rescue, an Officer's Stories. This is part 2, so I'm just going to delve right into it. If you haven't seen part 1, it was from yesterday. I uploaded it yesterday. So make sure that you check that out. This is going to be a 6 to 7 part series. I'm reading from my tablet. Trying to stay still so my phone don't move. Okay, so let's just delve right into it. My phone's moving. Okay, y'all, I'm trying. Y'all, I'm really trying. It's really windy outside and I have it near my window so y'all can see me better. So here we go. Now this is a search and rescue officer's true experiences. So maybe I should just hold it a little bit like this. So I'm just going to start from where I left off in part 1. So I logged back on tonight and was blown away by the staggering amount of interest this seems to have generated. First off, I'll address a few things that you guys have brought up. And what he means by you guys is the people that responded to his posts on Reddit about some of his experiences that he's had as a search and rescue officer. There's been an overwhelming amount of people mentioning the similarity between some of my stories and those of David Pilates. I assure you I'm not trying to rip him off in any way. I've got nothing but respect for the guy. He's actually what inspired me to write this, because I can verify a lot of the things he talks about. We do have a lot of these strange missing persons cases, and most of the time they are not solved. Either that, or we find them in places they have no business being. I personally haven't been on many calls like that, but I'll share a few that I've seen in a story my friend told me that relates to this. There was a lot of feedback about the mysterious staircases that people come upon in national parks and in forests and woods. There was a lot of feedback about the stairs, so I'll touch on that briefly here, and I'll also include a story. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, styles, and conditions. Some are pretty dilapidated, just ruins basically, but others are brand new looking. I saw one set that looked like they came from a lighthouse. They were metal and spiral, almost old-fashioned. The stairs don't go up infinitely or farther than I can see, but some sets are taller than others. Like I said before, just imagine the stairs in your house and as if someone cut and pasted them in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any pictures. It's never really occurred to me to try again to bring it up to my superiors or any of my mentors, so I just never took any pictures. I'll try again in the future, but I can't really promise anything because they can get in trouble for even just taking pictures of the steps, apparently. A few people expressed confusion about the guy who ran into the man with no face, and that was from part 1. So like I said, you got to go back to part 1. Just to clarify, when the climber ascended and reached the top of this peak, he saw another man in a parka and ski pants. This was the man that had no face. And what he meant by that was, it wasn't like he didn't have a head. He had a head. It's just he had no eyes, no nose, no mouth. And that's even confirmed in some more stories that I'm going to be telling in this 6 to 7 part series. Okay, so sorry about the confusing wording of that story. I'll try to avoid that in the future. All right, on to some new experiences. As far as missing persons go, I'd say about half the calls I get are related to that. The others are rescue calls. People who fall down cliffs and hurt themselves, get injured by fire. You wouldn't believe how often this happens, mostly drunk kids though. Get bitten or stung by animals or even insects. We're a tight team, and we have veterans who are excellent at finding signs of lost people. That's what makes these cases where we never find any trace of them so frustrating. One in particular was upsetting for all of us because we did find a trace of them, but it just led to more questions than answers. An older man had been hiking alone on a well-established trail, but his wife called to say that he hadn't come home when he should have. Apparently, he had a history of seizures, and she was worried that he hadn't taken his medication and could have possibly suffered a seizure while out on the trail. Before you ask, I have no idea why he thought it was okay to go out alone or why she didn't go with him. I don't really ask about that kind of thing because past a certain point, it really doesn't matter. Someone is missing and it's my job to find them. We went out in a standard search formation, and it wasn't long before one of our vets found signs that the guy had gone off the trail. We grouped up and followed him, spreading out in a fan to make sure we were covering as much ground as possible. Suddenly, a call comes from the radio telling us to all head back to the vet's location. And we come right away, because this usually means the missing person is injured and we need a full team to help get them out safely. We meet back up and the vet is just standing at the base of a tree with his hands on the sides of his head. I asked my buddy what's going on, and he points up to the branches of this tree. I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing, but there's a walking stick dangling from a branch at least 30 feet off the ground. The little strap thing on the handle had been looped around the branch and it's just hanging there. There's no way the guy could have tossed it up that far. And we don't see any other signs that he's still even in the area. We call up into the tree, but it's obvious no one's in it. We're all just sort of left scratching our heads. We keep searching for the guy, but we never find him. We even bring our canines out, but they lose his scent long before this tree. Eventually, the search is called off because there are other calls that we have to attend to, and past a certain point, there's not much we can do. The guy's wife called us every day for months asking if we'd found her husband, and it was very heartbreaking to hear her get more and more hopeless each time. I'm not sure why this call in particular was so upsetting to me, but I think it was just the sheer improbability of it. That and the questions that were raised. How the hell did this guy's cane end up there? Did someone kill him and toss that up there as some weird trophy? We did our best to find him, but it was almost like a taunt. We still talk about that one from time to time. Missing kids are the most heartbreaking. Doesn't matter what circumstances they go missing under. It's never easy, and we always dread the ones we find deceased. It's not common, but it does happen. David Pilates talks a lot about kids search and rescue teams find in places they shouldn't be or couldn't be. I can honestly say I've heard about this kind of thing happening more than I've seen it, but I'll share one of the ones that I think about a lot that I witnessed personally. A mother and her 3 kids were out for a picnic in an area of the park that has a small lake. One of the children was 6, another one was 5, and the other was around 3. She's watching them all really closely, and according to her, she never lets them out of her sight at any time ever. She never saw anyone else in the area either, which is important. She packs her stuff up and they start to head back to the parking area. Now, this lake is only about 2 miles into the woods, and it's on a very clearly established